Donald Trump has been increasingly unhinged in his attempts to silence the media.
Trump has stated that he believes it's seditious, perhaps even treasonous, for the press to report on his health. Care to comment on his health?
First of all, I think he's doing great health-wise. I think he looks great. I have found, and again, I'm obviously not like an orthopedist, but I've found that the thicker the ankle, the better the balance.
That is that famous saying.
For old people, falling is really, but if you get those, if your ankles are tree trunks, you can't get knocked over, you can't break the hip, and that's generally the beginning of the downward slide. So I would suggest that in and of itself would give you confidence that this may be the healthiest, most robust president that we've ever had in the history of the United States of America. But it once again gets to the point of, for Donald Trump, the level of fealty can never rise to a level that is satisfactory to him. There is no level of ass kissing that you can do. I mean, when you watch his, everything is seditious that falls beneath the level of, my God, sir, thank you for not allowing too many hurricanes to hit the United States, as Kristi Noem did in that stupid cabinet meeting that they had.
Sir, you made it through hurricane season without a hurricane. Yeah. And so FEMA, you kept the hurricanes away. So we appreciate that. And FEMA is deploying resources and dollars 150% faster than ever before. So somebody does have something bad that happens to them, you are immediately there helping them and telling them they have the resources to get back up on their feet.
He is angry at Fox News, which is literally like a 24-hour-a-day ball washing machine for Trump and is designed specifically to keep him in power. So for him to say something as seditious and treasonous means nothing, because the bar of entry to Donald Trump is purely about how deeply you are proving your undying loyalty to the king. Anything below that, obviously, is seditious.
Will you let me finish my statement? You are the worst.
Quiet.
Listen. Be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate.
You know nothing about nothing. You're fake news.
You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. Who are you?
I'm with NBC News, sir.
Fake news.
Keeping him honest tonight, the President of the United States wants you to know a thing or two or three about his health. Now, when we left you last night, he was in the middle of a long campaign rally type speech in eastern Pennsylvania. It was billed as his answer to the affordability crisis, complete with signs saying lower prices and bigger paychecks. It turned into a long monologue covering everything from windmills to transgender athletes to late night comedy shows and sleepy Joe Biden. The last of which might have gotten him thinking, because not long afterwards, he posted a long missive on his social media, quoting the first line, "There has never been a president that has worked as hard as me." Now, he goes on to say, quote, "After all the work I have done with medical exams, cognitive exams, and everything else, I actually believe it's seditious, perhaps even treasonous for the New York Times and others to consistently do fake reports in order to libel and demean the President of the United States. They are true enemies of the people, and we should do something about it." So it's now potentially treasonous, he says, to report on questions surrounding the president's health, stamina, and cognitive abilities, even though there are multiple videos of him appearing to nod off or at least close his eyes for rather long periods of time during some recent public appearances. This is from one cabinet meeting last week, which has led to similar questions.
All right, let's get to it. We have an individual in our new media seat today. His name is Tim Pool. He's a political commentator and a media entrepreneur with millions of followers, a very big platform. Currently hosts Timcast IRL, a daily news and discussions show, and The Culture War, a weekly podcast exploring cultural and political issues. His programs feature in-depth conversations on topics such as free speech, censorship, identity politics, and societal change, often engaging with a diverse range of guests. He's in Washington today because we are also hosting a local media row across the street in the Eisenhower building, which is a testament to our commitment to bring new voices into the White House to cover the president and this administration. So Tim, why don't you kick us off today?
Yes, many of the news organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by two different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat So I'm wondering if you can comment on, following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you could comment on the unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
Sure. Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which is one of the reasons we have you in here, and there's many new faces in this room in comparison to the previous administrations. We want to welcome all viewpoints into this room. We welcome unbiased journalists who really care about the truth and the facts and the accuracy, and you rightfully pointed out the Maryland Man story, which I, from this podium, when The Atlantic published it, on that very first day, I came to this podium and said, this is wrong. The press in this room have this story wrong, and we have seen more and more evidence come to the table that we have had all along. We were always right. The president was always on the right side of this issue to deport this illegal criminal from our community. And it is despicable to see the media continue to refer to this individual as someone who is just a peaceful man living his life in Maryland.
What I think is great from this office, Caroline, is you can actually see out there where all the press lines up on what you guys call Pebble Beach, right?
That's right, yeah.
Do you check them out and see who's looking like they're trying to get tough every day?
I can see the vultures. They just gather out there, and we have so many amazing spokespeople for the administration. We have Stephen Miller out there a lot, Kevin Hassett, the president's whole team. They go on TV, and then the press just lunge at them, like asking questions. So when I see a crowd building, I know someone's about to go out there and have a little spicy time with the press.
Trump is losing his mind over a New York Times article that highlighted his reduced workload, how many fewer public events he's doing, and apparent lack of energy. After an incredibly long, rambling rant about how his medical test results are the best any doctor has seen, he threatened any journalist who dares to say that he looks a bit tuckered out. A short but fairly representative excerpt of his messages reads, "After all the work I've done with medical exams, cognitive exams, and everything else, I actually believe it's seditious, perhaps even treasonous, for the New York Times and others to consistently do fake reports in order to libel and demean the President of the United States. They are true capital E enemies of the people, and we should do something about it." As typically Donald Trumpian as all of that sounds, it's actually pretty alarming how fond he seems to be of the word sedition recently. The FBI are off looking to interview the so-called seditious 6 lawmakers who committed the massive sin of apparently just reminding military personnel that they have a constitutional obligation to refuse illegal orders. And now he's saying that anybody who dares to say that he's old is committing another act of sedition. By the way, he either forgot that the word existed or was just coy about using it too close to his actual insurrection on January 6th. The way he's banning it about recently is pretty frightening. But Trump is old, and he is tired, and there's nothing he or anybody on his team can do to stop the public from seeing it. He doesn't seem to realize that the more defensive he gets, the more people think he's circling the drain. If you enjoyed that, then make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming a member. So you're probably wondering, why would I do that? Well, when you do that, you get access to bonus content that I make every single week, and it's a lot of fun. You get custom emojis and more. If you join at tier 3, by the way, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself. And you'll get all that going forward, but you'll also unlock years of the back catalog that is literally 100 or more bonus clips and top 10 lists and debates and more. So what are you waiting for?